held, and we'll move to item number 9. And again, pretty straightforward. Welcome, team. Again, thank you, Emma, for your ongoing work. And Paul, do you want to just outline for us what the key issues are, and then we'll take questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So Council has been working through a proposal to exchange land with a private developer. This was publicly notified, and following a total of 83 submissions, a hearing was convened. We recommended an independent commissioner to attend the hearing and make a recommendation to this committee. He found that, in his view, the amenity and green space function of the reserve would be compromised by the land exchange, and recommended that the proposal be declined. On balance, we recommend to this committee that they accept the recommendations of the independent commissioner.
Councillor Cooper, seconded. Councillor Close, happy to second.
I just had a question.
Yep, questions.
It was around the Commissioner's recommendation. Where is it? Sorry, I'm trying to find it now. It was around going ahead with another process around classification. Is that condition going to be, or that recommendation going to be actioned, or what's your view on that? Trying to find it, sorry. Here it is. Yeah, it's on page 107 of our report, and his decision, recommendation 4.41b. Initiates a formal classification of Margan Reserve under the Reserves Act, so that should a formal road application or plan change request subsequently be lodged, Council is in a position to proceed in the event that such is determined to be appropriate. Do we need to do anything?
Through the chair, the Commissioner was recommending that that the reserve be classified as currently unclassified, and the purpose of that is because there's a provision in the Reserves Act 15AA, which was an amendment which relates to changes to the Resource Management Act, which allows for a application under the RMA to be publicly notified alongside a land exchange at the same time. So you would hear submissions from the public both on the reserve exchange as well as the aspects relating to the Resource Management Act. So the advice is that we will recommend to the local board that they consider classifying that reserve. So classifications of reserves is a local board function.
Okay, so that you'll carry on with it.
Correct.
Councillor Clow.
Because my question was just totally exactly the same, probably a little bit more forcefully saying, why are we not putting 4.1b as one of the resolute recommendations? I mean, we're looking about a housing site that's ready to go with another 3,000 units on it. It's really the last big piece of the jigsaw in New Lynn that's slowly getting built on, but the bottom line is there's another 3,000 houses there, and Council and the government has spent to date 450 million in New Lynn with the undergrounding and all the public works that have happened there, and we just can't seem to get the buildings sprouting, and they are going to come back with a master plan and all this sort of stuff. I mean, and in the end, it may not require a road, but I'd hate to see this delaying something again for another couple of years. I mean, because we're just not getting traction with the housing, and I mean, you know, as the mayoral proposal is going to reiterate, it's transport and housing. And it's Mr. Twyford and the government saying it's housing, and so
Sorry,
so, you know, I've probably just been a bit more forceful to say, well, why are we not trying to just at least give the local board a little bit more oomph to say, please do this in case it's needed.
Okay, so do you want to add a recommendation which just sort of gives that a nudge?
I would just add B in total.
Let's just get
That's on
clear.
page 107, what councillor Cooper referred to,
Right,
you know, which is David Hill's recommendations.
yeah. All right, 4B, that council initiates, or I guess, would we say council/local board initiates formal classification of Margan Reserve under the Reserve Act, etc. Yeah, okay.
Or
Does
would
that
we,
make
or would we have to say council
requests
request the local board to da-da-da-da-da?
Through the chair, it might be better that it says recommend that the Faux Local Board consider the
Yeah.
classification of Margan Reserve under the Reserves Act 1977.
I don't think there's going to be any disagreement with that. We'll just, people are clear, we can resolve the wording, but it's simply along the lines on page 107 of 4B, but a slightly modified version to include the role of the local board in this because it is their decision. Okay, people are comfortable with that? I'll put those 3 recommendations. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. On that, so moving on, actually we might, councillors, because we're doing well time-wise for the moment, I'm going to recommend just a quick 5-minute break to grab a coffee, comfort stop and come back a bit refreshed